Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is January 6th, 2021. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us for the SIG CLI Bug Scrub, the first one of the year. My name is Eddie Zaneski. I'll be your host today. Reminder that this is, everything here is abided to the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, so just be excellent to each other. And I think we have some new folks on the call. Does anyone want to kick us off with the introduction?
Hi, my name is Hao Yu. I'm a work at IBM Research. Recently, I collaborated with the Red Hat OpenShift team, and they have some requests asking me to contact with you guys, and I kind of created a PR and drafted the cap. So I want to advocate for it with the community. So that's Happy New Year to everybody too.
Awesome. Welcome, Hao. Happy New Year.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Nick Malawecki. I put out a PR for a bug that I issued, and I forgot to put it on the agenda, but I was just curious if it needed any doc updates.
Okay, I will. Can you put it in the chat?
Put it in the Slack or the.
Thank you. We can get to one of those first. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining. Anyone else?
Hey everybody, I'm Ahmed. I'm a software engineer working at TeaSweb. It's a cloud provider. We're trying to use Kubernetes internally. So yeah, I'm just trying to learn more about Kubernetes, try to be a contributor since I have a decent knowledge in Go. That's it.
Awesome, welcome. Thank you all for joining us. And cheers, Sai. I see we have Sai on the call too. Awesome. All right, so let's dig in. I'll start by sharing my screen. If anyone has any issues that they want us to look at first, could you please drop them in the Zoom chat? And we'll go through there. Otherwise, we're just going to walk the backlog like we usually do. So I think this is yours here, Nick, right?
Yeah. That was it. I wasn't sure if the fact that we're now waiting on an extra observed generation number meant that we should document this, and because we don't document it in like rollout.
Gotcha. Brian, you want to take a look at this one, and I'll give it a pass later. I'll put it in chat.
Yep, definitely.
The only reason I ask is because, like, for the breaking change notification, I was like, yeah, this do have some breaking change, because if people wrote code, potentially it changes it. And the other thing is, when I originally started off on this, like determining if this bug exists, I knew this is a potential case that could exist, but the documentation was unclear of if wait covered this situation or not. And I wasn't sure if it was just the best to say, see the code and look at the code to see what it does, or if the doc should help people understand that how to properly write their conditions to not hit this issue.
So it may not, if I understand you correctly, it may not be a good assumption that there are many controllers that get events out of order. And so the observed generation for those resources can be out of order.
So the overall arching bug is if a controller crashes, or a client is responding and waiting for the results faster than the controller can process them, they can potentially tell the controller to do something and see a stale result from when they told the controller to do something, and before the controller reacted saying, I'm going to do it, that it was already done, right? So if I say update, and you say the condition is I'm up to date, and then I issue you a new update and I wait for you to be up to date, if you haven't responded to my new update request, you are up to date from the previous result. And generation numbers allow you to essentially know that the controller has processed and given you the status of the new command.
Okay, yes, I haven't dug into this, but if we are putting ourselves in a situation for the kubectl await command where out of order resources are not handled correctly, we have to be resilient to that dynamic.
The out of order resource.
Sorry, just for the sake of time, I assigned you,
Okay.
Sean and Brian.
All right.
Nick, if this would be a better discussion for next week in our general meeting, I just want to try to get through as many of the backlog as we can today, if that's okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, cool. Okay, Hal had 97667. This is a PR. Kube control drain ignored daemon sets by default. Looks like a nice short documented PR. Anyone want to take a look at this one?
I had a write up. Basically, I didn't know where to put it, so I put it into a cap format, and this it's in there, and this gives a longer description about this one line code change, basically.
Is your cap linked in here?
Not linked in here, but it's on the in the chat of this meeting.
Got it. Oh, this one here.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. We got assigned to this. Phil and Mache.
Thank you.
Okay. I can take a look at this one. If anyone else wants to take a look at the cap too, that'd be awesome. Okay. Any other ones that folks want to take a look at before we dive into the backlog? Okay. I'm just going to walk this board real quick. So kube control 963. This one we talked about. So Mache is supposed to reply to this one. Okay, I'll ping Mache on that later. 975. Cannot overwrite the service of deployment which changed by manual update. Doug, you looked at this one.
I think that this is not a bug.
Okay.
But I think he never replied to my question, right? So I don't know if you want to close.
Yeah, let's Doug, can you toss a comment on there that says just feel free to reopen if this doesn't apply?
Sure.
/close, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, 994. Kube control alt gives invalid answer and namespace argument is blank.
This one
is kind of odd. If you look at his last example at the top, when his description, he gives, he does like a dash in with no namespace. So then it interprets the next full argument as the namespace. And so there's some weird things in his example going on there.
Yes, definitely. Good catch. Do we want to close it or give it a week or so for a reply?
I don't think it's a bug, but
Okay, you okay closing it and just we can reopen if it's not?
yeah.
Thank you. 991. Kubectl apply validate true requires connection to Kubernetes cluster. I feel like Antoine would probably know best for this one. Unless anyone has any other thoughts, I'll tag him on it.
So we would possibly have to have, you don't always have the schema. And so we have to have the connection in order to be able to download the schema if in case the schema doesn't exist. So a connection must exist.
Right, for the discovery client. Okay. So this is probably an enhancement then, right? I don't even know if we'd have to bake the schema in, so that would never be a thing, right?
Yeah, I think you unless you are sure that you already have it locally. And I'm not sure exactly what those steps would be, but you'd have to be confident that you have already downloaded locally the schema so that you can use that schema to validate locally.
Are you okay typing that up on here, Sean?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, 965. Support for setting resource version in kubectl get. We talked about this one. And Mache replied yesterday. I'm okay punting this one for now. I'll leave it open. And then 950. I tagged Justin on this one. Let me ping Justin on Slack real quick. Does anyone remember? I think we did talk about this in a meeting. Does anyone remember if we said that we'd ever want this or not?
If I remember correctly, we are afraid of security about this one. Then you should ping someone that probably is Justin.
Yeah, I could see Ian being very mad at us on Twitter about this.
Yeah, it looks like a nice one to have, but again, it's a security related.
too, some of our commands actually, don't they actually alter the config as well? Like when you switch context or something?
Yeah, the config commands would write to the file.
I feel like there's like some other ways to accomplish this. Maybe not within kubectl, but just using things built into the operating system to, to pull down configs. But this does seem to be like a recurring theme. Like, hey, I have a whole bunch of people. I want them all to have the same config. What's the best way to centrally manage my configs?
Yeah. I'll put this on the agenda to talk about next time. Because I agree with you, Brian. That and CI/CD is another one that we are going to have to get a narrative for at some point. Okay. All right, so that was the backlog here. Grab these real quick. Too many functions are coupled to cobra.command. This is an old one. Sean, I think you had said that we should dive into this one for 121, right?
Oh yeah, this is definitely something that is on our radar. I think it may even be in our plan. We came up with our plan of what the items we're going to work on, and I thought this was one of them. Just for everybody's context, the reason we don't want Cobra command is to make the code more reusable. For instance, if some code we wanted to reuse in a controller, we don't want Cobra command. We don't want CLI specific code entwined and coupled into our into our code. I'm not sure if that helped, but it's definitely on our radar.
I think this is one of the things where once we figure out how we want it to do, then we can just send out all the help wanted issues and get people to do all the work.
So one of the ways this was addressed was in some CLI utils code, was creating an extra level above the Cobra command and the options called a runner. And in that way, you don't need to combine the options code with the Cobra code. So what we want to do is we want to separate the options code from and not have it have any dependency on Cobra, and Cobra could depend on the options, but not the other way around. And right now they both depend on each other. It's a spaghetti mess. Anyway, it's definitely on our radar. And once we have a good example, we've already played around with it a little bit in CLI utils. Once we have a good example, we could use that template for the rest of the commands. And once we all agree on it.
Okay, I put it on the agenda. Make sure we talk about it. Okay, this is the one you're replying to. Update customizing kube control. This is ongoing work by Jeff and y'all. Is this 121 we have this plan for?
Yes, I know that it's currently the #1 thing that Jeff is working on. And he's made progress. I know that it's been a long time, but I think that it's pretty close, and I'm loath to make any other, without Jeff here, I'm loath to make any other commitments, but I believe that there's good progress being made here. And we should hopefully we could get an update from Jeff at the SIG CLI meeting next week.
Cool. Number 982, drain helper defaults to delete immediately. Phil had thoughts here. Oh, that's not Phil. Same avatar. I think we talked about this in a meeting. So I accepted it, but anyone have thoughts or want to take a look at this? Or I guess we could just ping someone next week. Blowing up the agenda already.
Have is that changing, and we've had a couple of these, but like changing defaults around is potentially, tricky, dangerous for some people.
Yeah, definitely breaking. So okay, number 999, the local flag. Oh, we already looked at this one, right? No. Oh, this is very similar. Is this even a duplicate? This is basically the same exact issue we just looked at.
Yeah, the other one was kubectl apply. This one's labeled, but is this probably the same problem?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing because Mayal mentioned this morning on our Slack channel, and then when I heard the issue a few minutes ago, I was like, "Wait, is that Mihal's?" But it wasn't. So yeah, they're the same.
Sean, what do you think? Do you think this is a duplicate? Should we track this at the same one?
I'm just opening it up right now. I'll, if you guys want to move on to the next one, I'll have a look at this and see if, and we could circle back to it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's cool. It's identical, it looks like. Okay. 997, binary data not shown in kube control, describe config map. Website. Okay. I mean, this seems reasonable to me. Anyone have any thoughts on this? TLDR, we don't output binary data under a config map describe. This person is volunteering to create a PR that just shows binary data with the number of bytes and a key name next to it. Any objections? Going once? Nope. Okay. Custom columns stop abruptly when hitting a non-existent array index.
This sounds reasonable, and I know our custom columns printing code is has shown that it needs some love and attention.
Cool. Anyone want to take a look at this one?
Yeah, I can take a look.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it for that board. Make sure there's nothing else in here. Cool. All right, so that's kube control. We don't have Jeff, so it's probably not worth looking at customize.
If you want to quickly circle back to that kubectl label local dry run. So I'm just going to talk through this, and anybody please correct me if I'm wrong. So kubectl label is generally going to throw labels on any of your resources in the cluster. Doing it locally, I believe it's not actually going to write your YAML locally. It's going to print it out. I haven't used this -- local flag. But either way, this is just a corner case saying, why do I need a kubeconfig if I'm trying to set a label locally? In general, if you're adding a label to your resources locally, you're just going to edit it, right? In whatever your editor is before you apply it. This situation doesn't seem like a very important one, or one that is, maybe I'm missing something if this is what.
Oh, Sai, actually, it seems like this is a older one that Mache actually opened.
Yeah, this looks slightly different. The other one was just for
actually.
Well, this is more general. The other one was for kube control label -- local. So it's a specific labeling command.
I think it's this though, setting the. So this, I mean, Mache's issue is talking about how we removed this being defaulted for default server.
Okay.
So it sounds like it's the same.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying, Sean.
To add a label to local YAML manifest. So you, like 99.99% of the time, you are doing that by opening up an editor and putting in the labels, right? To your local YAML manifest.
Yeah. It's an interesting use case. I could see the reason why someone would want to do it, but kube control is not really like an editor.
Yeah, and I'm hesitant to actually take on this case just because it's such a tiny corner case, and there is a way, in fact, a very good way to change your local YAML manifest, and that's with your editor.
Okay, I will figure out how to corral these issues because they all seem to be the same. So I'll take that on. I'll talk to Mache and Antoine. Okay. How are we doing? Oh, we're doing good on time. So let's look at CLI. New replica set shows none when describing deployment. Anyone want to take a look and triage this?
So is this, is this during a rollout or an upgrade? Right, so if there's a new replica set for a deployment and an old one, then it seems like it would be transitioning from the old to the new. There's only going to be a small time when both of those are. Am I missing something there?
No, I think you might be on it.
So when it's first created, there is no old replica set. There's only the new replica set that's being created. And then when you do a rollout or you apply a new deployment, it's going to transition from the old replica set to the new replica set. That's only going to be a small amount of time when you have both of those around.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm not sure why. Yeah.
Anyone want to?
That's. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, any of the newer folks want to triage this? No.
For this, that's just like literally a one-liner to fix it. I don't know. I haven't really looked at it.
You can assign that to me. I can take a look.
Okay. Thank you, Ricardo.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, Doug, I know you wanted it. Your plate's full. I feel bad assigning too much to you, Doug.
Don't worry about.
Okay. Here's one from Jordan. Kubectl convert cannot convert ingress objects. Okay, this one has someone looking at it. I accepted it. Kubectl proxy support for multi-cluster. I think we all want to say this isn't something we really want to do, right? I think we always default to, if there's a bash solution that's pretty straightforward, then you should use bash. But I'll ask Phil to weigh in. He'll be quick to close it. Okay. Kube control version and Helm commands output error message on Mac. Oh, I mean, that's a really, really version skewed version.
Yeah, that's 6 versions off.
Yeah, it's absolutely because of that. All right, I'll close that one. I'll write up a comment.
We might want to have a better error message. Although I guess that error message was somewhat useful.
And we talked about having a version skew warning, and I was working on that a little while ago, but I think there was some hesitation because it would be too intrusive to have it on every command. But I kind of wonder if maybe at least showing a warning if they do kubectl version and it's beyond the skew, at least provide a warning there to maybe help people learn that there may not be a bug.
I think that's a great idea, Brian, that we'd have something very intrusive if you call kubectl version, because ostensibly that's what you're trying to find out is the version. And if there's some major warning saying, hey, these versions are skewed, whereas every other kubectl command, I could see a lot of people complaining if they got warnings about version skew, and if they had to do an extra flag to quiet those warnings. Maybe in addition, if in a -v above like 2 or 3, there would be a warning as well on the version skew if the verbosity level goes above a certain level.
I like
Maybe
that.
this is an issue we should talk about in the meeting next week. But that's a great idea, Brian.
Okay, you want me to add that to the agenda for next week?
Please. Also take a look at the blog post I just dropped in chat. This actually shipped in 1.19. I wonder if we could leverage this. Basically, we already have a mechanism for warnings and stuff now. Jordan worked on it. Support M1 MacBooks. This already has an issue. And DIMS is working on it. I know we have a kube control issue for this. This one. I'll get those tied together. Because I honestly, I think this is a bigger issue than just being in kube control. So maybe we should track this one since DIMS and these guys are looking at it. Port forward usable on scripts. It doesn't feel like it belongs under port forward. Any thoughts? I can add it to the agenda for next time. Okay, logs for all containers previous. Looks like there's an open PR.
I don't think that PR closes the issue. I think it just addresses the anything else we need to know part of it.
Hmm. Oh, I got you. Yeah.
So it sounds like if there's multiple containers and one of them has restarted and the other one hasn't, then it gets confused about what the previous what previous is at that point, maybe. I mean, sounds like it could be a legitimate issue. I don't know. Have to, I mean,
So if,
take a look at it if you want.
so that PR looks very small, which is good. It doesn't have any unit tests or any other tests to prove that it's actually doing what it says. So if anybody's reviewing that PR, please ask for tests. Maybe I should just do it myself.
Please. Yeah, I'll link it for you.
Cheers. 97,686.
If you want to take a look, Brian, please.
Yeah, I'll take a look at this issue and see. Let's see if I can reproduce it.
Thank you. Yeah, let's see. We're doing good on time. We got 9 minutes left. Okay, 97426. Kubectl reference guide for kubectl run command incorrectly specifies that a deployment or job can be created by specifying restart on failure or restart never.
Isn't that old behavior? Is that what the issue is?
I think so.
Yeah, I checked this issue. I couldn't find this issue anymore. I mean, translation files is really outdated, but yeah, I mean, I couldn't locate this bug anymore.
Okay. Thank you for taking a look at that. I'll give it a little bit of time to close itself out and then we'll close it. We need formatted the results of exec. Yeah, I think Paku is on point here. YAML is unordered. I think that's what they're asking for.
Yeah, so they probably shouldn't depend on the order in the YAML.
Yeah. Okay. Time for a couple more. Error while proxying request. Ah, this one. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to close this one. This was basically, we have all these things glued together. We don't know what the issue is, but we think it's kube control. And there's no way to reproduce at all anything they're seeing unless we have their enterprise environment. So kube control does not preserve YAML formatting. This should be not an issue. This is back to when I was updating Cobra. Right? No. Yes.
So they said it was fine in 1.17 and then not fine in 1.19.
I'm pretty sure that's the runaround I had to get Cobra updated with GoYAML. I'll take a look at this one.
Yeah, I remember
Also,
you dealing with that a whole bunch.
you remember this dependency graph I had to create to figure out what the hell was going on? That was a fun one. All right. I know that YAML issue too well. Okay, time for one or two more. Let's see. Enhancement, alpha debug, add sys trace. It's a syscap. Okay, verb is the first person I thought of. Okay, I'll just accept this because verb thinks it's good. Okay, last one. Add exec equivalent to default logs container. Oh, we talked about this one. Doug, you looked at this, didn't you?
Yeah, this one he opened a capped, and I closed this one as a duplicate of a Kushu GitHub because he already implemented. So what is missing is like more reviews into the capped and also the implementation. The implementation for me looks good, but doing that myself, I think it's safe to have more people doing that.
Oh yeah, I've been tagged on this one, I think, a few times. Okay. I will put this on the agenda for a cap chat. Cool. And I think that's all we have time for. Thanks everyone for coming. It's, new folks, it'll be great to see you next week for our general meeting if you can join us. Other than that, any last minute words or comments? Cool. Thanks everyone for coming. Happy New Year.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year.
Bye, folks. Happy New Year.